In Activity 6.2, we're going to look at using radio buttons, and then based on the options selected with those radio buttons, we're going to dynamically change our options in the combo box. So we've used the combo box before, but this will be just a little bit different since we're going to generate the items in that box based off of another action. And also you'll notice here I have a button, so they choose an option, click the button, and then it generates the code. I'm going to show you a slightly different way. I'm going to leave that button out and show you how you can add the functions directly to the radio buttons. So let me come over here to Scene Builder. So in Scene Builder, I have already gotten rid of the default button and label, didn't need those, and I added my combo box. I gave it an ID of CMB packages. And then obviously for the text, I just created package options. And then back in NetBeans, I've already added my code for that, so there's no longer an error. So before we add the radio buttons, I'm going to go ahead and create my methods that each radio button will use. So I have the default method here, handle button action, but I no longer have a button, so I'm going to change the name of that to handle, and this is going to be for the first radio button, so I'm going to call this handle radio 1. And then the rest of this is okay, and then I need to get rid of these two lines. And what I want this radio button to do is to add items to my combo box. So the way I do that, CMB packages dot, and then what I need to do is I need to get the items or the item list for that combo box. I do get items dot, and now I want to set new items. So I'm going to do set all, and then here I can supply my arguments, and I can do this a number of different ways. You'll oftentimes see it done like this. You kind of see it written this way where it's easier to read. It doesn't have to be this way. It can all be in one line, but I'll just go ahead and do this since it's kind of a common method. And I would do something like, let's say, since these are packages, package 1, comma, package 2. So I'll add like 2 packages for this radio button. And then I need my semicolon down here. Okay, so this radio button, as soon as it's clicked, all it's going to do is it's going to go get my items. And if I go back to my FXML document, we've learned how to add the items here in the FXML. Since there is nothing added here, obviously when it goes to get the items, there isn't going to be anything that it gets, but it's just going to get that list, and then it's going to set it by adding package 1 and package 2. Now what I need to do, let me go ahead and get rid of some of this blank space. I'm going to copy and paste this and create a new method for each of my radio buttons. And I'm going to create 3 radio buttons for this example. And obviously I need to change the names. It doesn't like the fact that they're all called radio button 1, 2, 3. And then I'll just update my package name. So this will be package 3, package 4, 5, and 6. There we go. So I have 3 different methods, 1 for each of my radio buttons. And now I can go back to Scene Builder and I can create my radio buttons and then choose these methods for the on-click action. So let me go back to Scene Builder now and bring over some radio buttons. So here's radio button 1, and for the text I'll just call this option 1. Okay, I don't think I need to, right now I'm not going to change anything else on that, but I am going to come down here to my code, and I don't really need to give this an ID because I'm not going to be going back and referencing this. Had I done this the way the example here is shown with a button, I would need to give it an ID so I could go look at those buttons. But since I'm not going to be going back and referencing the buttons themselves are going to run the code, I really don't need to give it an ID. So what I'm going to do, oops, wrong one, is just go down here to my on action and oops, you do need to save your code before you go back or it will not recognize them. Let me save this and see if I'll refresh. There we go. Handle radio 1. That's what I want that first one to do. And actually, if you'll notice what I just added that to, I just added it to the background. You need to be careful with what's selected. Since I kind of clicked off and went up here to save, it selected my whole background, so that'd be my action pane. I don't want the action pane to run that. There we go. That's better. All right, so there's option 1. Now I need to do the same thing for the next 2 buttons. So I'm going to actually pause the video and do that, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've added my buttons, and each one, if I look at 2, it handles radio 2, option 3 handles radio 3. So each of these is going to run a separate method. And if I save this, and now go back to NetBeans, and let's test this. Okay, so right now, if I click package options, there's nothing. Choose radio button 1. There we go. I package 1, package 2 is my options. Radio button 2, package 3, package 4. Radio button 3, package 5, package 6. So it's adding the new packages for each one. However, you'll notice how these are still selected, and they really shouldn't be selected. Radio buttons, the whole idea with radio buttons is that you should only be able to select one at a time. I wanted them to be able to check more than one at a time, I would use checkboxes instead of radio buttons. So I need to fix that so it doesn't let me choose all 3 at one time. So let's go back to Scene Builder, and the way we fix that is on our properties. You'll see this option here. Oops, didn't mean to click that. Toggle group. Notice if you click on any of these, it takes you right to the help options. So if you ever aren't sure what something does or how to use it, you click on it, it'll take you to a website with information about it, which is what I just accidentally did. So toggle group, I need to give this a group, and I'm just going to call it group 1. I'm not going to have more than one group, but if I just call it group 1 and then add each of these to group 1, you can see it already comes up there, and I'll add this to group 1 as well. Now I've just grouped those 3 buttons together, and by doing that, I've now set them so that I can only choose one at a time. So there we go, that's what we expect. And now I can see I have options 3, 4, options 5, 6, etc., which is what I expect. So there's one last thing I can do to kind of improve this. At the very beginning when I run this, it'd be easy for a user to maybe just kind of skip over this and come down here and click this and then see that there's nothing here. But what I can do is I can disable this until I've selected an option. So I need to go back to Scene Builder again, and I'm going to disable my combo box. And to do that, that's under the properties, and right here is disable. So I'm going to click disable, save it, come back, run this, and you'll see that it's now disabled. I can't even click on it. Now what I need to do is I need to add some code to my method, so when I select one of the options, it will re-enable that box. And that's pretty simple. All I need to do is do CMB packages dot. Now this time what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to set something. I don't need to get anything, I just need to set. So I'm going to type in set. And what I'm wanting to set is the disable property. That's the one I just changed. So I do set disable. There we go. And it's going to come up as true, but I need to change this to false. So change that to false. Add that to each of my methods so that it doesn't matter which of my combo boxes gets selected. It will re-enable it for all of them. There we go. Save it and run it. Option 1 re-enables this, packages 1 and 2, packages 3, 4, etc. So now this functions the way that we would want it to. We can select a combo box or select an option. Based on the option selected, it will add those options to the combo box, and it re-enables the combo box as soon as any one of them are selected. So that's basically what you're going to be doing for this particular activity.